Welcome to the House of Legends podcast, where great women become exceptional. I am your host, Graciela, founder and CEO of the House of Legends by Graciela, a mindset coach and mother of 3 beautiful kids. My mission and passion is to provide you with the tools that will allow you to unlock and bring out the best version of yourself, which is the key to all change. Some of those tools are mindset, identity work, and emotional mastery. Not only that, but I will also bring you powerful conversations with legends like you, showcasing their journey, life work, and allowing us to learn from their experiences and insights. So don't miss an episode. Tune in each week to the House of Legends podcast and let's unlock the power of your own legend. Let's dive in today's episode. Welcome back to the House of Legends, where great women become exceptional. I am your host, Graciela, and in today's episode, we have one of the most powerful women in the industry. Her name is Camille. She's a business mentor and also a freedom marketing strategist. Also, she has her own podcast. She's a beautiful mom, and she's about to pick up her kids after this episode, by the way. And she has under her belt more than 12K courses sold online. With that being said, if you can introduce yourself, Camille, let us know who you are and what got you to where you are right now.
Oh, thank you so much, Christiana. Thank you so much for inviting me on here. So, I'm Camille Plews. I live in the northeast of England in the UK with my husband and our 2 kids and our rescue fur baby. And what got me to here now? So, the reason why I help, it's purely women and it's mostly mums who come into my world. Some aren't mums, but most of them are. And the reason why is because of my huge mission. My mission is to help more and more mums to escape the rat race, to escape the daily societal norms of having to put your children into daycare to then go to work and then not spend any time with them. So my big mission is to help so many women escape the daily rat race so that they can have more time with the family. And that includes a lot of passive income, recurring revenue, and having a huge global impact at the same time. So I think what got me here to this point, I've been on such an incredible journey of doing so many different things within this business, doing lots of one-to-one work, doing lots of high ticket, low ticket, mid ticket, like group programs left, right, and center, live launches, so many different things. But what's got me to here now is just looking at the simple life and how I can have a huge impact with my clients, but in very little time. So I tend to just work purely when the kids are at school. And when it's the kids' holidays, we take a lot of time off together as well.
Got it. I love that. I think you want to agree with me when we operate with a clear purpose. Even if we have some challenges in the business, and like you mentioned, we do one thing. We don't try. I don't use the word try. I don't that word. I think it's not in the vocabulary. We do one thing and then another one and another one, and we move because it's our why goes beyond ourselves, or the why goes beyond the business itself, and that's actually when the things work. So yes,
Absolutely. It's a huge purpose. And when you've got the mission that you can just anchor into and then just put your blinders on, this is the thing as well. So I think in the early stages of my business, one of the big mistakes I made was constantly chasing the next thing. So I'd see one coach having success doing that, and then I'd be like, oh, go try doing what they're doing. And then I'll do that and then just get caught up with all of this stuff. And then be thinking, I've just got too much on my plate. I wanted to have more time freedom. What am I doing? And then pull back and then go chase what somebody else is doing because they're successful. I got caught in that in the beginning phases of my business. I see so many people getting caught in that. So it's just like putting the blinders on and thinking, right, what is my mission? What is my vision? What do I want to do? What do I want my life to look like? And then just staying focused. It's that focus, like you've just said then. It's purely being focused on it.
yeah. And if we can go back a little bit, because you mentioned that you were doing many things, and I think many women will identify themselves with this. When we come here online, we see, or even we hire a mentor coach, and we do the things that she suggests us to do, and some things work, but at the final of the day, I think this journey is about also understanding ourselves, who we are. You mentioned what are the things that really light us up for you. If you can mention how was for you, if you can go a little bit on detail, those first years?
Yeah, those first years were so difficult. So when I started this business, I had almost £50,000 in debt.
Wow.
So
Oh my
closed down my old business. Yeah. Closed down my old business. So I had a huge e-commerce business. I had a massive warehouse and it was a six-figure business, but I just grew to hate it. I didn't love being stuck in the warehouse, packing up clothes every day. So it was clothing that I was selling, clothing, shoes, maternity wear, shoes, bags, a lot. And I was in that warehouse from like 8 till 6, packing up orders. And it was busy and it was a good business. I'm saying this in inverted commas. It was a good business, but then I just was miserable. I was away from the kids again. I kind of replaced what my corporate job was with me just plonking myself into like another job that I kind of owned. But I lost the passion for it. I wasn't doing something that matched the dream life that I wanted to have. So I had to then revisit and think, how do I want my days to look? I don't want to be
God.
stuck in this warehouse 8 till 6 every day. I don't want to be doing this. So then I started seeking out mentors who could help me with other online businesses that were more flexible, that would help me to have more of a purpose.
Yeah.
And then I was able to shut down that business. I shut it down quite rapidly. I was listening to a podcast from Mel Robbins, and one of the things that she said
I
on the
know.
podcast was,
Yeah.
if you don't love what it is that you are doing now, and if you can't see yourself doing it in 5 years from now, then stop doing it now and just make the changes now for quick changes. So I thought, right, okay, I'm going to get out of this warehouse. I hate this business that I've grown. I know it's successful money-wise, but I really don't like it anymore. So I started to sell everything off really cheap in a sale. I stopped more orders coming in because I had orders coming in from China, from India, Bangladesh, and all over the UK, different places in Europe. I had orders coming in every day. And I stopped all of the orders, started selling everything off cheap in sales. And I didn't know at the time when I was coming out of the warehouse that the warehouse managers, like the landlords, were still going to ask me for 6 months rent, even
Wow.
though my contract for my rent had actually kind of expired. But anyway, let's just say they held me to that and I had to pay 6 months rent even after I'd left there. So I ended up with all these thousands of pounds worth of debt on credit cards and I didn't have any new money coming in because I was transitioning from old business to new. And
Yeah.
it was a difficult time. So it was more than 40K debt, almost 50 on all stacked up on credit cards.
Mm.
And it was quite scary.
Mm.
And oh, yeah, those beginning phases of my business, I think I was more panicking about the money coming in. So the desperation came across. And as you know, the more desperate you are to get a client and the more panicky you are, people just repel from you.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to come to you when you're
Correct. Yeah.
desperate.
That's so
But
true.
it's so hard when you are panicking about paying the minimum payments of your credit cards and you just don't have the money there. It was so difficult.
Thank you for sharing that. And while we were sharing about the warehouse and selling clothes and all that, I was just a flashback actually for from my own journey came back in 2020. I I was not in a physical actually warehouse, but my first business actually was an Amazon FBA. I was selling blankets. I'm telling you. So I hired this person on a Fiverr to do my logo, to all those things. I was investing. I could think it was the first load of blankets was like $6,000, and then the designer and all those things. At the final of the day, COVID came, and after that, I found myself with blankets. I think we sold like I don't know, like seven, eight, and I was like thousands of blankets. I did have to remove all the inventory for actually from the Amazon warehouse. I put it all in my mom's garage, and I was like, what the hell? And one of my friends, she told me, sell them. And I was like, you know what? And I was really like you said, one of the things that I really admire for you from you, Camille, is that you move really fast. Like, you know
Yeah.
what? We move fast. It doesn't matter if we have debt, it doesn't matter whatever. So the thing that I did, I was here in the United States, like there's a Goodwill. So I just donate every single every single blanket to the Goodwill. And I said, you know what, this is gonna come back again. But I found
Yeah.
myself like I already invested in this, like, well, like you mentioned the Mel Robbins is like, well, it is what it is. This
Yeah.
didn't work. And it didn't work. Actually, it was a good business, but I was not in tune with the thing that you mentioned, the purpose, right? But I was like, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna blame myself. I'm just gonna fucking move. And for most of the people that you already invest in this, and it's like, whatever, I'm gonna move. So
Yeah. You just have to move, and you have to be aligned with what it is that you're selling. Like, so many people are successful with, say, for example, when I shut down that business, I started doing a bit of social media management as well in the interim between me having my coaching business and getting that up and running and getting my first few clients and shutting down my old business. In that in between stage, I did social media management for a few months. And again, I didn't love that. I didn't love it. And I was okay at it, but I didn't love it. I did not want to grow that type of a business, but I know so many people love social media management and love doing that, and they're in their element and they're fully booked with clients and they could just do that forever. That is amazing. It's doing something that is in full alignment for you and what you want to do. And when you find something that you love, that you're just like, I could just do this forever, then it just shows, and then your business grows because it's in full alignment. It's not forced.
Yeah. And I think when we recognize that part, but that I think comes after we have the first encounter in an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
That comes
Or the first 3 or 4.
Yeah. I wish to have someone like back then in the first, like, hey, go to your purpose, go to your purpose. That comes later, I will say. A couple and after some kind of lessons that we need to learn. And actually, those are lessons that we just can recall back and we say, like, well, that was great back then. I don't know.
And I think this is the thing as well, actually. When everybody starts a business, everybody misses out on the foundational pieces, the value, the mission, the purpose. Everybody misses that because they think it's boring. But that is so vital for you to grow a business that you love forever. Everybody just thinks, oh, I'm not going to do that. I just want the money. What do I need to do to get the money? And then when people go for that, they're aiming for the money, and then they end up growing a business that they don't love, and then they're miserable, and then have to burn it down and start again.
Yeah.
So,
and regarding about the money, I would love to, for you if you can extend more, because you're talking about also debt. I did have a lot of debt as well, like that business and things that happen also in my personal life. And at one point I found myself with a lot of debt. Like I was like, what's going on? And money was not coming in. And like you mentioned, when we are in those places and building another business, people can feel that neediness, and we have. And in that moment, I have to decide, hey, I'm not gonna let the circumstances let me actually. I'm not gonna let my circumstances define me. And right there, I did have to shift my mindset. But it was really, I'm not gonna say hard, but it was kind of quite a challenge, because you see the bills coming in, you see the creditors, you see all those things, and you have to just like buckle up and showing up online. And actually, it works, right? But I would love to know, what was the process for you, like after deciding for you to remove yourself from the warehouse and still having those 6 months of paying that the rent that actually you didn't occupy the place, but you have to pay it. And how was your thought process right there?
Yeah, so my core process was, it was just having safety in the moment. So even though I had all of these letters coming through from credit card companies, you owe this, and I was like, oh, am I going to pay this? Am I going to have debt collectors round? Am I going to have like the bailiffs come round? I don't know. I didn't know how I was going to pay these bills. I had no idea. All I knew was that I had all of these credit card payments to pay. And I was like, right, which ones are the most urgent? Which ones can I maybe try and phone up and put like a payment holiday in? I was like considering that. I didn't have to do that in the end, but I was thinking, right, if it gets really bad, I can maybe say, can you give me 2 months off? Can you give me, all of this? There's certain things that you're in such a financial difficult situation. There's a lot of things you can do. And it's just a case of phoning the credit card company and seeing what they can do for you. But I was thinking, right, I can do this, I can do this. And it was just allowing myself to feel safe on that day that I was showing up online and I was going to tell people about my services, and I'd helped people to grow their social media. So back then as well, my coaching services were helping people to grow on Instagram, because that's what I knew how to do. I didn't know everything to do with funnels, ads, and all of that lot back then. Yeah. Obviously now I teach everybody the systems, the funnels and ads and, passive income and all that kind of stuff. But back then I didn't know any of that. So my main coachings and teachings were all to do with how to grow on Instagram. So because that's what I'd been able to master myself. So for me, showing up with the confidence and not that lack energy and mindset, it was just feeling safe on that day and feeling like, you know what? I've got everything around me. Everything is safe. And it's being present in the moment. That's the thing. Don't be thinking ahead of what might or might not happen. Don't think behind of the past of what's already happened. Oh, this is a nightmare and this is going to happen again. No, the only thing that's true is what's here and now. So if you can feel safe in this current moment and rise your vibration as to what can be the possibility. So, oh, if I can really deliver online today and I was to gain a client, what would that look like? Oh, okay. So one client would equal this. That'd be like 3 of my credit cards. The minimum payments on my cards, that would be 3 card payments met from this one client. Okay, come on, let's do this. And it's like getting into the energy of it's done. I can do this. I know I can do this. This is done. I know I can do this. And it's just conditioning yourself with that. And when you can, rather than showing up with the whole, oh my gosh, I need a client, I need it now. And because people can sense that.
Yeah.
People can sense the energy. And if you're panicking and you're like, oh, come and work with me, then everyone will be like, I don't want to work with you.
It's like, yeah, it's repelling energy. Totally.
Yeah, repelling energy. That's it. So it's more right. How can you appear just calm, relaxed, confident? Like confidence sells, and it does. When you speak with conviction, you speak with confidence, and it's unwavering confidence. When you learn to speak like that, and then people will see how confident you are in your abilities and the results you get for your clients and all of that. When you show up and you speak with so much conviction and confidence, then people will come to you. It's not going to work if you're showing up with panic. And I know exactly how it feels to be panicking about money. I know exactly how that feels. But the worst thing you can do is show up online with that repelling energy, because it will repel.
Yeah. And I would love to extend it, if you can extend a little bit more here, because you mentioned one word that actually, without even knowing back then, I was able to reach: feeling safe.
Yeah.
Feeling safe is key, because when we have that situation, like you said, even if we have an amazing product, an amazing service, people actually, we're sending this I bring this analogy of the radio. Like, you have this amazing service, you know that you can help that woman, that man, whatever. You're sending that, I can help you, this is great. But also the one that is more potent is like, I need you because I need to pay this. I need you, and people can feel this.
Yeah.
People feel the other one. People feel the neediness, and something is kind of not clicking. It's like, oh, it feels good, it feels inspiring, I love you, but is actually the double bounding message that we're sending. I
Yeah.
want you, if you can extend what you did back then. For me, was breath work, somatics, getting into my body, getting into the present moment to feel safe and to say, you know what, I'm safe. Like you said, turning myself into gratitude, also to be able to be with my emotions and no longer suppress how I was feeling instead of understanding. But I would love to know if you can mention your process to feel safe. What was that?
Yeah, absolutely. So gratitude, as you just mentioned, that was a big thing. So, and I'll still do this every morning without fail. I'll write down, and I physically write it down, pen and paper, write down 3 things that I'm grateful for that's happened that day. And it's always different every day, but I'll also feel into it and like laugh. So if my little girl started singing, like, oh, she's got such a beautiful voice when she sings, and I'm so glad that she's happy. And like, I'll just allow the emotion to come over me to feel grateful for that thing happening. Or my little boy might have told a joke on the way to school, or something might have happened. We might have been having a walk in the woods and some bird flew down. It was on the branch near us, and just little things like that. The 3 things in life that you can just be so grateful for. So I'll always write down 3 things every day. It's always before lunchtime, normally after I've been out with the dog and had a walk, but it's normally before lunchtime. I'll write 3 things down. And then again, that just fills you with love, because love and fear can't exist together within your body. So if you can fill yourself full of love and operate from a place of love, that really, really helps with how you are showing up for your life, your business, and everything. Also, visualization techniques. So putting myself in my future. I found it hard to visualize myself in like 5 years from now. And I know a lot of people do. A lot of people find that difficult to put themselves in their shoes, their future successful self in 5 years. But if you can even just do it in a year from now, your future self, if you're in, say, for example, you're in a similar amount of debt as what I was, like over 40K, almost 50, but I was in this position and I was panicking about bills and everything. If I was to operate from that person, I won't get very far. Whereas if I could put myself into my future self, who's paid off all of that debt, she's so grateful. She's got clients consistently. She's a lot happier. She's not having these night sweats, worrying about debt and all of that. And just how does it feel to have just 0 balance on those credit cards? Like, really immerse yourself into that moment, and just like looking at your statement, looking at your online statement, you've paid the final amount off. How does that feel? And just allow yourself to feel the feelings of how that feels. And that was what I got myself into. So I get myself into that state every day. And then I just trust, like, right, if this is working for lots of other people in the online space, which I knew it was, there's so many Instagram coaches out there, this can work for them. This can work for me as well. It can, and it will. I just need to show up like I mean it, like I do, and just share the amazingness that I can share with people, and it will work. And it did. It didn't at first. The very first time I showed up and I put my services out there, no one joined. And I felt like, oh, and that's when I joined my first mentor. And I had like a tiny amount of room with the payment plan on my credit card. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm already in this amount of debt. Will it matter if I join another payment plan that's like an extra 200 and something dollars a month? Come on then, let's join.
That's the way.
Kind of how I felt. I thought, what's another $200 going to add on to the already like, almost 50K of debt that I've already got? And I thought, I'm just going to have to, because I needed that help and support. And you have to grow a product-based business, but it's so different with online services, and the way that you have to be, because you are your brand. It is so different sharing services and selling services to what it is products. So I was really successful at selling products, but services, I found it a bit difficult at first.
Thank you for sharing that part. And as well, I want to highlight something that you mentioned, and that was part of the visualization. You mentioned I enter into a new state, the new version of myself, the new identity, you were tapping into that new self-image that was operating with not debt. I was operating with clients, and you were like, embody that energy, because you mentioned really clear, if I were operating from that old energy, or if I was operating from that old energy of like, I do have this debt, I do have all the things, and I'm showing up, it doesn't matter the message that we send that. But that is really important. If you can mention for you, what was the main shift? And we already witnessed here, but what was the main shift in your self-image? How do you start seeing yourself back then in order to you move out from that situation?
Yeah, so I always chose to look at other people online for inspiration. Yes, now and again, you can fall into the comparison trap and be like, oh my gosh, they're doing so much better than me. And oh, why would anybody come to me and all of that? But when you can get out of that and be like, right, use that as inspiration. Anybody who's online that's doing something similar to what you're doing, how can you use that as inspiration instead of feeling like, no one's going to come to me, they're only going to go to them and all of that. Right. How can you be like, right, I'm using that to fuel me, because if they can do it, then so can I. And that was one of the shifts that I had. So I was operating from my future self. So when I'd learned to do the embodiment work, learned to put myself in her shoes, and how would she, my future successful self, in a year from now, she's cleared all of her debt, she's got all these clients, she doesn't have any debt at all, she's actually got money in the bank. Like, how is she operating? What are the daily things that she's doing? How is she showing up? How is she holding herself? How is she speaking?
Yeah.
What kind of things is she saying? How does she view life? What is she actually doing? So I was operating from her. I was really getting into her head and her body, if you like, every day. And I still do this visualization every single day. Before I switch on, or lift open my laptop every day, I will do this visualization and get myself into my future successful self. And now I am visualizing my future self in 5 years from now, because I've been doing this practice for quite a long time, quite a few years. I'm now putting myself in my 5 year in the future person. What is she doing to 10x the growth that I'm having now? What is she doing to 10x it? And looking back, what are the daily actions that she's doing? And what am I cutting out? What noise am I cutting out? What are the daily things that I'm cutting out that are keeping me distracted and playing small? What do I need to do to 10x my growth? What will she have done looking back?
Yeah. Oh my God, that is so amazing, because you're right here, you're giving us just like a mini master class, like really like stepping into that version and also taking action. I love the part that you mentioned about like the operation, how she operates on her day, what are the things that she is no longer doing, and what are the things that she put her attention. That is key. And I would love if you can extend more when it comes to this part, because when right now that you mentioned you're working most of all with women, when they come to you and they're like, well, I want to learn the strategy, I want this, I want that, I think what is that the energetic part that you bring into your coaching? Because one of the things that I've been seeing online sometimes is like either we go all the way on energetics and just like, hey, I'm just gonna let things happen, and that is amazing. But part of the energetics is action as well, align action, the strategy, having this. I think the strategy, the systems. Let me know if you agree with this. Are the masculine, feeling safe, and the energetics is us receiving, but also acting on those ideas. So if you
Absolutely. There's 4 key areas, so 4 main things that I teach on. Like everybody comes to me for the strategy. It's always the strategy.
yeah,
But the way that I put myself out there online, it's kind of a mixture between energetics and strategy, but it is mostly strategy. That is like the main thing that you would see on my Instagram grid is mostly business strategy. And that's what most people come to me for. But then when they come into my world, they are delivered strategy, energetics, mindset, leadership, all those 4 things, because they are needed hand in hand with each other. Like not one of them is more important than the other, because you need to learn to lead yourself and lead others to come into work with you. It's like leading yourself, leading your clients, leading other people as well. So leadership as a whole, and leading yourself to be able to execute the strategy, to take action, leading yourself to do these daily actions to raise your vibration, because when you raise your vibration, people, you have this aura and people are more attracted to you. And mindset as well, like again, leading yourself to the strategy, to the mindset, leading yourself to bettering your mindset all of the time, not letting in all of these negative emotions, all of this self-doubt, and like be consciously aware of it. And all of these things, these 4 main things, strategy, energetics, leadership, mindset, these 4 things are so needed. And these are the 4 things that when people come into my world, whether it be my membership or my main accelerator, these are the 4 things that I guide people through consistently throughout.
Yeah, that is amazing. I really, like the life of that you bring those on, because many times, like I mentioned before, we focus on just one area and we wonder like, what are the things that I'm not doing, or what are the another mindset shift? It's like, yeah, mindset is it's amazing, but you also have to have the leadership. If you don't lead yourself, if you don't lead yourself behind the scenes, I think also counts a lot how we lead ourselves behind the scenes, like with our kids. How do we lead as partners, as moms? How we lead that? I think that reflects in every area of our life. And also, like you mentioned, the mindset, the energetic part. Sometimes when we start attracting that people that are those amazing clients, and this is one of the things that I'm not feel guilt about this, but I was like kind of like letting that going. We forget about the things that brought us right here, like doing the visualizations, like you mentioned, doing the inner work, and we let that aside. And I think we have to find this sweet spot, this balance where we can integrate in all those in our days, all those things, even just 15 minutes, 20 minutes. It could be something, but integrate those. And when we do that, like you mentioned, we're not only raising our vibration, but we're maintaining this amazing, like I will say, signal where people can come, right?
Definitely. And as well, when you can do that every day. So for me, it takes me 10 minutes every day to raise my vibration. That's all it is. And when some of my clients struggle with this, because some people do struggle with it, they're like, I just can't imagine my future self. I just can't do it. So it's like, right, imagine the feeling you get when you book a holiday. So you've booked a holiday, you've seen the photos in the brochure, you've seen what the beach looks like, the pool and all of that, and you're getting excited. You can imagine yourself there. You can imagine yourself sipping the cocktails, dipping your toes in the pool and being there in the sun hitting your face. And just, you can imagine yourself being there and like your body starts to tingle because you're like, oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait to go on this holiday. That is the feeling you need to get into. So
Yeah.
even if you can't imagine your future successful self, like imagine yourself booking this dream holiday. If holidays are your thing, or maybe it's a Louis Vuitton handbag, like imagine yourself holding it. Maybe it's a car that you want to drive, whatever it is, take the car for a test drive and then just embody it and just think, this car's mine, this car's mine. Like, how can you get that into your mind that car is yours? It's already done as long as you show up for it. This is the thing. It's just getting yourself into that high vibe state every day, because you also get more done. When you are operating from a frequency that's up here rather than down here, you get so much more done in so little time. You can take fast, messy action with everything because you're just getting so much done because you're operating from up here and you're just like, I'm on a roll. I'm like getting everything done and everything's amazing.
Yeah. This analogy came to me. It's like being in the receiving mode. When you're in the receiving mode, like ideas come, and it's like, oh God, this idea sounds really, really great. And it could be anything, like you mentioned, thinking about that trip that you will book later on, thinking about the car, thinking about something. And when we focus our attention, it doesn't matter what this is a really amazing thing, that would it doesn't matter what subject we bring our attention. If we feel great, if we feel good, if we feel excited, or any of those higher vibrations, we have access to the rest. Sometimes we think that, oh, I need to focus on my business, and I need to yes, that's amazing, but if you still feel that crunch, that think sensation in your body, focus on something else. And when you focus on something else, actually that opened the door for the business ideas to come in.
Yeah, and zoom out often as well. I always say this because you can get so stuck doing the daily tasks. And sometimes the daily tasks, especially if you're like inside of funnels and you're creating sales pages or you're creating emails on the back end or whatever, and it can seem a bit mundane at times. You can be like, oh, I've got more emails to do or whatever. But if you can zoom out and take a look at the big picture and the things that you are doing, the life that you are building, and the amazing things that are happening, and the clients that are coming into your world, and the people that are commenting on your posts online, and just all of the stuff. If you can zoom out often enough and pay attention to all of that, then jump back in, get back to the emails and the funnels and whatever else it is that you might be doing, then it just makes you excited for everything you are doing in your business. Don't just get caught up in the daily mundane. I see so many people doing this, and then they just think, oh, this is boring, I'm going to quit. What about the big picture? What about the
Yeah.
lives across the globe that you're going to be changing? What about the people's lives that you are interacting with now? What about your life? What about the
Yeah.
dreams that you're building? Like, zoom out often, zoom
Mhm.
out at
I
least
love
once a week. Zoom out, take the aerial view look at how far you've come and the things that you are doing, and then jump back in.
Yeah, I love that. I love that because sometimes we can get so caught in one a small dot of the bigger picture that was like, oh, I don't want to do this, or just want to or whatever. But it's like it's just a dot. It's just like a
Yeah,
snapshot. It's not the whole thing,
yeah.
right?
And you can feel the resistance as well with one thing. Like one thing can just keep you stuck for ages. And you're like, oh, I just don't want to do that thing. Like for me, it's always emails. I've always had the resistance with emails. I just don't like writing emails. So then I now like talk to the note section of my phone, and the note section just types it all out. And then I'll just format it and then put it in an email. That's the way that I found works best for me. I don't like sitting and typing. I prefer to talk. So certain things you'll feel the resistance with, but you just have to just get on, do it in the best way that you possibly can, and just think about the big picture always.
Yeah, yes, that's so true. And I would love for to ask you, Camille, how do you see yourself in 5 years in your business?
So in 5 years in my business, I will have my own retreat villa in Italy.
Mm,
That is on my vision board right now. This is what I visualize every day right now. It has to be in the hills. I've got different villas pinned on my vision board, but they're all kind of similar. A
yeah.
minimum of 5 bedrooms. It has to be in the hills. It has to have a pool that looks out onto the hills. And I want to host retreats in my own villa. So I've got my retreat coming up in 4 weeks. And I hosted a retreat last year. It was a sellout retreat. This year's a sellout retreat. And I just want my own villa. I just think, you know what, I want my own place, and I want to be able to kit it out in like, like all of the stuff that I want for the retreats, rather than thinking, do I need to hire that? Do I need that? Do I need that? I will have my own retreat villa, and we can go over there often as a family as well to spend time there. I love Italy so much, and I just want to operate my business from there a lot of the time as well. And I just want to be able to, for my kids to be a part of that. I want them to be a part of it. I want them to see what it's like to grow that kind of a business. And if they are wanting to do it, I mean, my kids are still quite young. They don't know what they want to do when they grow up. My boy did say that he wants to have his own business, but he doesn't know what he wants to do. There's so
Wow.
many options for him, but it's like, I just want them to see what's possible as well. And yeah, for them to just be a part of it. So I'm looking at property investments in the UK and abroad. I'm looking at just so many different things, like growing my membership rapidly, and therefore also growing my sort of main program level as well, but not necessarily the higher end one-to-one premium support. So I did actually just turn my business model on its head at the end of last year. Turned it on its head because I had so many clients that I was working with one-to-one. So I had 26 clients one-to-one back in June last year, and it was just too many, far too many. And anyway, long story short, I've reduced that massively, tipped my business model on its head. I've now got a much more scalable model, including my membership, which, I'm in there every day anyway. So again, it's very much hand-on support. And Yeah, my future self in 5 years from now, I will have my retreat villa, and I'm so excited.
Well, you were mentioned that last week I was in Nashville actually, and I went with this friend. We went to this there have like gardens, and we were testing wine and cheeses and all that. I was just like, oh my gosh, I was even feeling in your villa all the
Yeah.
like the wine, the cheeses, the grapes, and I was like, God, that is just like that is already it. I put myself there, and like you said, those beautiful seeing or staring in the window, like seeing that beautiful downhill view, and just like just basking on that energy of like this is mine, and not only for my family, not only for me, but also for the clients that are gonna be here and they're gonna have an amazing experience, and that is so. Oh God, you were able to transmit that picture, and when we're able to transmit that picture to other, it's just done.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It's done. That is the thing. It is done. When you
Yeah.
can picture that, you can picture it in your mind, but don't just picture it. Actually imagine
Feel
yourself
it.
being there.
Yeah.
You are there. And it's kind of like a game of pretending. You know, like when you're a child, it's going
Yeah.
back to pretending that it's like role play, right? This is my villa. This is mine. How does this feel to this be mine? What do I need to have done to get to this point in my life, in my business, where this is mine? And the clients that are coming, the clients that are here, the clients that are working with me, we're doing, things together. We're doing like visualizations together. We're doing strategy sessions together. We are dipping our toes in the pool. We're shaking off energy. We're doing all of this together. And we can do this often because this is my villa.
Yeah.
And there's
And
a
even,
vineyard at the bottom of the road. We've got our own olive grove.
and
Look at
even
these views. Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
and I love the fact that you mentioned is like not only seeing it, it's like actually feel yourself, feel smelling even in the air, how the food, the pasta, the bread, you name it, like this
Oh, the wine, like you said, smelling.
wine. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Pizza, the fresh bread, or
mm,
the juicy olives, all of that. Oh, love it.
that is so so amazing, Camille, and I'm really grateful that you get to share this in the podcast and now inspiring more women to visualize themselves. Like you said, if they don't see it fully yet in 5 years, in 1 year, but just visualize yourself and start operating from that place. Start making some moves and actions from that future self that is already that is available for you at any time, and you don't have to change nothing in the physical in order for you to tap into that frequency, in order for you to feel in that.
Yeah, absolutely. This is available for everybody to tap into. And when you do, and you're operating from that, just, so much will come to you. It will. It's there for
Yeah.
the taking.
Yes. Thank you so much, Camille. This conversation was really, really amazing. Before we close up our episode, I would love for you if you can mention where we can find you, the ways that we can work with you. And after that, I'm going to ask you this question that I always ask my guests.
Oh, cool. So you can come and find me on Instagram. My handle is at Camille Plews. And right now, ways to work with me. There are two ways to work with me. I've got my membership, which is only $47 a month. And within the membership, we have focus trainings every month. So this month, we are going really deep on unique storytelling content. Last month was our 30-day sell every day challenge. And it's like lots of different angles to sell every day, but that's available for everybody to tap into. And also my accelerator program, which is the step-by-step process on how you can grow this amazing, incredible business, building lots of recurring income, lots of passive income, and only be working 4 to 5 hours a day in your business. So that is in the accelerator. So come and check it out. I am at Camille Plews on Instagram.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. And
Thank
this is the question, Camille. By this point, I already know the answer, but I would love for you to mention, because sometimes when someone ask us this kind of questions, we think like, okay, either we respond really, really fast, or we're like, I don't know. What is your superpower, Camille? What is the superpower?
Ooh, my superpower. Okay, so my superpower, I would probably say making people believe that they can. This is the thing, because they can. Like, I grew up in a tiny little village in the northeast of England with barely anything. We grew up in quite not a poor family, but we didn't have much money at all. If you wanted a new bike, you had to wait till Christmas. Even
Mm,
if you wanted a new pair of shoes, you had to wait till your birthday or Christmas. We didn't have that much money growing up. And I think that if I can make it happen, and I see other people who are struggling, saying, oh, it's all right for you because you've got this, or it's all right for you because but I've built this from nothing. So it's making people see and believe that they can. And I think my superpower with regards to the business strategy side, it's definitely ads and funnels. I love ads and funnels. I'm like a real nerd when it comes to systems, ads, funnels, and teaching people the simple ways how to do it. It's not complicated at all.
Oh my, I love both. You're welcome. Energetics and also a strategy. I love both because when we combine both, actually it's 50-50. I don't believe that one is more important than another one.
Absolutely.
When we combine both, actually we have the feminine and masculine. And when we operate from that place, things move. And one of the things that I want to mention, and I wanted just to have it in part of the recording, is that you are one of the women, Camille, that I really admire. Like really, so like sometimes, and I do have some clients like that, or people that like they don't even commented on my stuff, but I really admire you. Like, and now that I know more about you, like the way that you move, the way that you make decisions, the way that you show up, it's just like mind blowing. And I just want to acknowledge.
Oh, thank you. And I absolutely love all of the work that you're doing. I admire everything that you're doing as well, and the way that you're showing up and the way that you've grown this podcast super quick. This is incredible. I've been watching your journey with this podcast and everything that you're doing. You're doing such an amazing job. You really are.
Thank you so much.
Oh, this has been such a great discussion.
Oh, right.
I feel like we could talk all day.
We can do it all day long, right? Thank you so much, Camille. It was a pleasure to have you here, and we'll see you next week. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Your presence is greatly appreciated, and it truly means a lot to me. If you could support us by leaving a 5-star review, it will help us to connect with more extraordinary and influential women like you. With that being said, thanks once again, and let's look forward to an amazing and legendary week ahead.